Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons. With me this morning is Admiral Teague. How you doing, Teague?
Hey, everybody.
This week we got from Universal, and by the way, fuck you, Universal, for blocking the 4K version I had online.
You bastards.
We'll be watching from video game, specifically Sega fame, Earthworm Jim.
I knew Earthworm Jim. I served with him.
Yeah, this one is from 1995, so just about the height of his popularity. Here we go.
Will there be communistic ideas in this, Germ?
Here we go.
Does this one have a little lesson in how communism makes your life better, like all the Disney movies I've seen lately? Because I don't know if I can sit through entertainment without that.
No, this is a little bit before that time.
You don't have the link in there you haven't dropped the Cosme link yet.
Oh shit.
Everybody, these things happen. It's live radio or live streaming. These things happen. Right now, I would just like to say I want to apologize to the wife of Communist Belief Crusader. I'm sorry your husband won't work. I'm sorry he spends the time that he should spend looking for a job attacking me on X. And I'm sorry that I said you deserved a better husband. There, I've satisfied it all. It's not a big ask, right? Husbands should work.
Yeah.
Call me crazy. Otherwise, maybe communist belief crusader is a they them, and the reason I should apologize to their wife is because their wife is properly addressed as he. I believe anything at this point. His marriage is about as stable as a lesbian relationship in second week.
Hello, CJH Entertainment Plus. I'll get that link pinned here in a second. It's nice how the intro actually explains everything you need to know about the show.
It's kind of like the 70s that way, CJH Entertainment Plus. The theme song in the beginning will bring you right up to speed. Cool avatar, by the way.
Again, that's Jim Cummings in this. There hardly wasn't a show in the 90s he wasn't a part of.
He wasn't on 90210. He doesn't share the greatness of a Joe E. Tata, but he's a good actor. Oh, we've got some people who ended up on SpongeBob working on this, don't we?
Probably. Uh, both Universal, at least at the time. That is. This is as disgusting as the video game was.
The British have the term bog standard. This is bog standard background music, but I do like that Hitler's in it. Like, why is he in this?
I don't want to think about it. Earthworm Jim was a crazy, crazy show or franchise.
This is 4 minutes into episode 1. We have the all-time bad guy of all time, Mustache Man from Austria, up on screen as a cartoon villain. I would point out he had to attack most of Europe and America before we did that to him. What I'm saying is you don't invoke him lightly.
Shadow puppets. And that's it for Shadow. Unfortunately, this does not in any way hold up to the video game. And there goes evil.
Jerem, you'll love this one. I'm communicating with Northern English Bastard as a friend of mine. He was one of the few other people to watch 1923 and 1883.
Yep.
Now, based on his name, you would figure he's from the northern part of England, right? Which he is. So when I showed him on a map what happened in 1883, he was like, "Fuck's sake, man!" It's like a 30-mile circle drawn around Dallas with like a line up north, like the one episode.
Yeah.
I don't know why he didn't just say this is now Missouri. This is now, you know what I mean? Like, why didn't just fake the northern process? They didn't have to stay stuck in Texas. Is Texas like like China? If you use their film subsidy, you have to say you're there and stay there, because they did that over and over to the detriment of the show.
I think he just may not have understood the geography of the place.
He lives in Texas. He's from Austin.
Yeah, that doesn't mean he understands the geography of it.
So what you're saying is he can't read it. What we're saying is we should just shut up and yeah, it's north. Yeah, we should shut up and just appreciate that it was okay, rather than hold him to the map that he didn't bother to read. The best, most show-killing comment absolutely came from a radioactive. He's like, "You do realize there's a direct train line from every place that they've said they're gonna go?"
Yeah, it was probably about 50 years too late in a time setting.
Easily. You know what? The research showed that the 1876 uprising by the that got Custer was a real outlier. There hadn't been problems in a long time, so that was like an isolated incident to the people of the time.
Yeah.
Have I behaved poorly enough to earn the right to wear a Cleveland Guardians t-shirt? What do you think? I was looking at them last night online.
No, why not?
Yes.
That poor crow. At least that thing looks familiar. Real hyper qualified villain, isn't he?
It's really well animated. What else could I say? It's really well
After
animated.
95. This is possibly worse than that Teen Wolf cartoon.
I'm not too sure about that.
It's better animated than that, but the story is complete crap. It's a good thing Jim bought those sidekicks on volume.
Yeah, the voice actor's prominence is precedes him. I recognize the voice.
Yeah, Jim Cummings, pretty much in everything in the '90s.
Was he a DuckTales voice?
He may have been. I know he was in Winnie the Pooh and Bonkers and pretty much every other Disney property. Well, that was abjectly terrible.
I don't know what to say. I'm a guest on your show. I'm supposed to kind of bear with it and say you're wrong, Germ. That was great. That was great. You're a genius in spite of yourself. You rescued that cartoon from itself. It was never any good until you showed it. Man, that was something. Please put it on again.
Okay, episode 1 of season 2. See if they got any better in season 2.
We just had one of those.
Yeah. Too bad he didn't get attacked by a mutant dog.
Does fucking yourself over because you don't know what's going on kind of count as the same thing? Wasn't he his own mutant dog?
In a way.
I got to imagine the Democrats are just like ecstatic because they've gotten two completely dead, empty suit candidates out of the way, having them fail at getting elected, and now they can try like human candidates. I can feel the wheels turning as Germ looks for a response that will not get him banned.
And I thought Dan was weird.
Dan's still weird. He just can't compete with this. Comparing this to how weird Dan is like comparing Otis the drunk to Tony.
Yeah, makes him seem very tame. His only obsession is Robot Woman.
It's the teacher from Ferris Bueller, by the way. It's Ben Stein.
Yeah.
He was a Watergate plumber.
Yeah, he's getting awful close to copyright infringement. Oh, this cat again.
By the way, Germ, did you know that the movie Thunderbolts is tanking?
Yeah, I saw that.
God, it's pinky in the brain.
It's not even going to make the 75 that they were predicting.
Now the caveat from Yellow Flash is despite good reviews, I would point out I was right on the money when I said that movie sucks and no one would see it. There are good reviews and then there are valid reviews. I gave a valid review.
Yeah, it's not outright bad or offensive. It's just not interesting.
I would I would say that it has moments where it's outright bad. Offensive, possibly not, but it is outright bad. And it is a slow, long burn where they never let your head up out of that filthy toilet water of the swirly that they're giving you here and there. You know, it's not pleasant.
Yeah, and funny enough, it's going to be Disney's biggest hit of the year.
Actually, Disney's biggest hit of the year was Revenge of the Sith, $900 million in 7 days. It looks like a pretty decent animation job, but the story they're trying to tell.
Yeah, it really never should have been translated from the video game. It was a pretty fun video game back in its day, but it really should have stuck to that platform. No, that was quick. Or he could turn into a super dog and everyone dies. Origami against a laser. And back to being a stupid little puppy. Yeah, those are pretty evil. Well, he's doomed. That somehow got worse.
You want to just talk about horse racing and gambling for a little while?
Yeah, I don't think I'll subject anyone to another episode of that. That was, I feel significantly dumber
Violated?
for having watched that.
I feel violated.
I was hoping that would stick up to the video game, but wow, that's a huge drop in quality. Granted, I only played the first two that were on Sega. But wow, that's horrible.
Not as horrible as how I feel after trying to interpret a threat that I would be destroyed in 24 hours and then realizing it's from 5 days ago. I'm not sure how to interpret that. We're alive, right? This isn't the other side.
Yeah, we're still alive.
Oh, fuck! All right. Well, hey everybody, welcome. We just watched Earthworm Jim. It was 90s to a fault, but it also had age-old problems like laziness and lack of detail, lack of attention, lack of object permanence. The character stayed the same looking, was about as much as I can give this.
Yeah,
he was consistent.
Is okay. The animation was very good decent for the time.
Yeah, it was decent.
Just the story was
below shit tier.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put this below the Teen Wolf just for the story.
And you no longer feel bad about not getting it in 4K. You're like, it's just fine with me.
I think Universal may have been doing us a favor, trying to block it from erase it from the internet.
It was like contingent to what they did that was stipulated at the Nuremberg trials. Like, you will not show these anti-humane cartoons. Man, I couldn't believe that. You know, I think back to Saturday mornings, and this has been revelatory as to how low my standards were as a kid. Although I would say that when I was a kid, the choices were so much fewer that I saw much better cartoons than you ever did, even though the best cartoons weren't around yet. There was still too much bad to good. Think of my cartoon diet coming home from grammar school or on a Saturday morning. Popeye, Mickey Mouse, Bugs Bunny and Friends. That was my world. The worst cartoon I saw was like Chilly Willy.
Yeah, those are all high quality.
Maybe not Chilly Willy, but it's for really young kids, right?
Yeah. Yeah, somehow the 90s really never lived up to the 80s.
Well, we can see how, right? Like, we've put the cartoons on performance-enhancing drugs, and we've taken the emphasis off playing fundamental baseball. So we have an IP character from a video game that's big. Video games are big. Video games will always be big. Video games are the is-all and end-all of 1995, right? They can't think past it. Internet is a word that's been barely spoken. So, like, the magic word right now is computer and video games. So they're like, we've got, you know, this steroid-using baseball player. We can just have him at DH, and he'll go to the plate and hit home runs. He doesn't have to have any substance to his game. And that's this cartoon. This cartoon was Jose Canseco.
Yeah, it's a good comparison.
This cartoon was Bob Boone. This cartoon was Brett Boone. Brett Boone was jacked like you wouldn't believe on steroids.
Oh, yeah. I met Brett Boone in that 2001 season. Dear God, not a...
It's ridiculous. His
Okay,
muscles had
guy.
muscles.
Yeah. Fit guy. Nice
he
guy,
had-
but...
Yes. That
on the
that
same
needs to be said.
mental level as the worm we just watched.
And here's the thing: he was a dishonest guy. He was a very dishonest guy. He didn't have the fortitude to play baseball clean. He was not as good as Paul O'Neill. He was not as good as Bernie Williams. He was not as good as Ken Griffey Jr. or Sr. at 46. He was not as good. He cheated. And that's not because I'm still angry at that chick who wouldn't fuck me once I told her that he's definitely juicing. She got so angry that I could say that wonderful Brett Boone could cheat. It's like, well, I mean, look at his brother. He's skinny as a pipe cleaner, man. Like, they have the same genetics. Like, you really think that if his brother couldn't put on this kind of muscle, he wouldn't even come close? To which she said, if Aaron Boone was on steroids, why doesn't he have heart problems like everyone else? The open heart surgery went really well for him, didn't it?
I guess so.
At 40, what a shock, right? Was he 37 or 40 when he had the open heart surgery?
Somewhere around there.
That sounds to me like he may have been using something to enhance his abilities. He's an athlete in his prime. I mean, there are congenital things that just pop up, but I would point out that Bob Boone and Brett Boone never had that problem out of nowhere. And that they weren't the smallest, scrawniest guy on their team under pressure to hit more. But he was.
Yeah, it's funny. The late 90s, we had a rash of healthy people with these heart problems.
And people
we
whose
didn't
heads
get
keep
until
getting bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Barry
then-
Bonds grew 2 full hat sizes from Pittsburgh to San Fran.
Oh, a few more than that.
Well, think
His
about it.
head
No, he went from
literally
he went from
tripled in size.
he went from a 7 3/8 to a 9. He had the largest hat ever issued in Major League Baseball. And he's not in the Hall of Fame, and he's never going to it. He didn't play the game right.
Him, Sammy Sosa,
Right.
and
Mark
all those
McGwire.
other guys. Mark McGwire.
See, it really is upsetting because I know you don't like Bernie Williams. I know that you get sick at the sound of his name, but don't we agree he at least played the game clean?
I don't think anyone really likes Bernie Williams.
Yankee fans and the other Yankees from that year's team love Bernie Williams. And people who like acoustic guitar music like Bernie Williams. He's a really good guitar player. You know, you want to hear
Was
something
he the
funny?
only one on that team that was clean?
I think Pettit was clean when he was a Yankee, and I think that he got into that shit when he was hanging out with Clemens as an Astro. But I think O'Neill was clean. I think Jeter was clean, and then everyone else, take a guess. I mean, I don't know. Like, I do not think Glenn Allen Hill was clean. David Justice was like believably huge. Tino Martinez, it could go either way. Tino Martinez still has the funniest reason for getting fired from a Major League Baseball team. Do you remember why he got fired from the Florida Marlins?
No, I remember why he got traded from the Mariners, which was not
They
very...
couldn't afford him.
No, they couldn't afford him, and Lou Piniella kept getting him and Edgar confused.
What is outright white guy? By the way, like I would just point out, people like want to come out there in favor of Latinos. Like, when did Constantino Martinez ever get any like support from the peanut gallery just because he was Latino? Because he looked like an out and out white guy. No one ever associated it with him. Yet when we would bring in guys from Cuba like El Duque who couldn't speak a bone of English, when the manager would come out, he'd gesture Tino over from first base, be like, "Would you talk to this moron for me?" And you know what the saddest thing about him not being able to tell Tino from Edgar is for Lou Piniella? You know what the saddest thing is?
There's about a 10-year age difference between the guys.
That Tino is Edgar's fucking godson. I mean, so Tino is Lou Piniella's godson. Tino Martinez is Lou Piniella's like nephew and godson.
Yeah, I guess he got tired of just kept yelling Martinez, and he kept getting a different guy answering him.
He did it for the same reason he eventually confessed he did it for Paul O'Neill. He thought that the guy was a good baseball player who could not reach his potential where he was. And having been a former Yankee, he was like, what better place to reach your potential than the Yankees, who have a great farm system? And he got. Derek Jeter was not the most coveted guy. It was someone else, Dave something. They got our most valuable, like, top 5 farm players. They passed on Derek Jeter 4 times in that deal.
Well, they already had a all-star shortstop
who they let go and traded for the Yankees 2 seasons later. It was a dumb move. And now, does anyone not believe the Mets story that when they bought Alex Rodriguez in, his conditions were he gets top league pay going up when everyone else gets a raise to always be top, which by the way starts an infinite escalation war, and also that he gets his own plane so he doesn't have to hang out with the team. I believe that now.
I believe the pay, but Alex Rodriguez is notably
Barry
afraid
Bonds
of
had his
flying.
own. Is he? But here's the thing. He didn't want to fly with the team. It's not that he didn't want to fly at all. Maybe he thought he could have a safer plane. Do you think it was because he thought he could have a safer plane? Yeah, there's no way. This is not the 1950s. You cannot take a train. There's so many stories of Major League Baseball players driving on their road trips from New York to like Detroit and back, which is doable in the old American League East in the 1950s, but it's not doable at all in any way at all. And you would have to drive for 30 hours and get to the game 5 minutes before with no time to get ready and no sleep over and over for 3 weeks.
Yeah, especially with the schedule they have now. Back then, there's significantly less games.
If I have this right, the Yankees played the Angels yesterday and are playing in California and are playing the Devil Rays today at home.
Yep.
Whether it be the Devil Rays home or the Yankees home really doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's still a 3,000+ mile trip.
What's messed up is that when the Yankees play the Devil Rays and the Yankees are both home. Did you know? Do you know why?
It's some sort of spring training thing, isn't it?
When the Yankees play the Devil Rays in Tampa, the Rays Stadium has been condemned. You're not allowed to go inside it unless you're helping to tear it down. So they're getting a new stadium. And in the year that it takes, and by the way, think about this, they could just split while this is being done, too. So in the time that it takes to get a new stadium, they're playing their regular season in the 15,000-seat Yankee home stadium for spring training. They're playing at George Steinbrenner Field. So when you walk into Devil Rays Stadium, there's like statues of George Steinbrenner and Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle and Derek Jeter. And it's all done up in Yankee colors. But I should say the two closest teams, as far as the way their management and their ownership relates, are the Yankees and the Devil Rays, or the Yankees and the Rays. The Rays only exist because the Yankees are like, yeah, we'll give up Tampa. We don't care. It was their second hometown, and they owned it. They still basically own it. The number one baseball team in like that part of Florida might be the Tampa Bay Rays, but the number one team in Tampa is the Yankees.
Yeah. Well, the only reason
Tampa
ever got a team was because the Yankees wanted someone to be
a farm team and a major league farm team. By the way, that didn't work out. The Devil Rays, I think, have a winning record all time against the Yankees, and definitely in the last 10 years. When the Devil Rays play the Yankees, because the Yankees own Tampa, and by this I mean there are streets called Steinbrenner Drive, and there are a lot of Steinbrenner properties and Steinbrenner businesses and Steinbrenner billboards as you drive around Tampa. The only thing bigger than Steinbrenner is Scientology. Both might be a cult. But the Devil Rays play the Yankees like it's their World Series because it is.
Well, yeah, they're essentially owned by the Yankees.
The Yankees can do anything they want, and the Devil Rays will never say shit and vote to endorse it. Also, if the Yankees say we want your top 5 Devil Rays and we'll give you cash, the Devil Rays will just do it. Because the last thing they need is any problems with the Yankees. The Yankees will make them pariahs in their hometown. In fact, the Sarasota Devil Rays is not out of the question. It's just not out of the question that the Devil Rays have had enough of this shit and will move.
Well, that's assuming anywhere else actually wants them.
Somewhere else in Florida would. Somewhere else in Florida would. As long as they're, say, more than 100 miles from Miami. Because remember, Tampa Bay is only 70 miles from Miami. And I would just point out, that was a fun stadium, the Tampa Bay Stadium. I had a really good time at all the Devil Ray games I went to when I lived in Florida. They had good fans.
Yeah, they had good fans, but that building, that's Kingdom levels of crap.
It was called the
Especially
Thunderdome.
in that heat.
They needed a covered building in that heat. They could cool it off. It wasn't that bad to be inside there. They could cool it down. They could keep it 70 degrees inside. That was fine. It was actually like a Minnesota outdoor game, is also inconceivable 2 months of the season. I don't foresee Minnesota ever winning a World Series while they have an outdoor stadium. Not that they're a threat.
Well, yeah, they haven't been a threat in decades. But why?
For those counting,
Minnesota?
it was. For those counting, did I get this right? It's Minnesota wins, Kansas City wins, Minnesota wins. Was the last time, like 1990 through 93.
I believe it's actually earlier than that.
89 through 91. It's Minnesota,
like
Kansas City, Minnesota. Because does Minnesota win 2 straight? Because Brandon and Brenda Walsh are named after the Minnesota Twins because they're from Minnesota and they're twins. You got to know your 90210 lore. I saw something. I guess we're on the air. I don't know how much longer you want to say. It's your show. You call it. But maybe you want to talk about this. What is going on with all the branding on MLB uniforms? And what's your opinion of the all black on black with red piping Reds uniform? What the fuck on both?
That was kind of weird when I saw it. They played the Mariners earlier this year, and it.
Oh, is that their 100% road uniform?
No, that's what they call the City Connect
Fox alternate
uniform.
Oh, the City Connect uniforms are the worst crime against society. They do look like Buck Buckeyes London Monarchs jersey and uniform. By the way, Germ, do you know how old Buck Buckeye would be right now if he was a real person?
About how old?
28 years old. Exactly 28 years old. He was born October 31st, 1997.
It's a shame. Never actually going to get those London Monarchs.
Well, Germ, we get the London Jets.
Yeah, I think that's enough suffering for the city.
You know what? Honestly, how great would it be if they stayed there for every Jet fan in New York? You know we want this, right?
Hey, if you really wanted it, you guys would have trashed their stadium.
Another perfectly good team plays there. It wouldn't be fair.
And it's in New Jersey.
It's not our stadium. There's a stadium waiting for the Jets in New York when they get good enough. We told them they could play their home games. We told that they used to play their home games where the Mets play.
Was that the current stadium or was that the one before? I didn't think City was set up for that.
It's the one before, though. I would say you could play football at Citi Field. You definitely could. But no, it was at Shea Stadium. The thing to keep in mind though is like 25% more or less of Citi Field is on the footprint of Shea Stadium because they started building it, then they finished their season, then they blew up Shea, then they finished it.
Ah. Well, maybe one day when they come back from London. If they're ever allowed to come back.
I don't think they want to. The Jets own the rights for the NFL for all of Europe. They own the entire rights for all of Europe, and they own it for the next 19 years. They threw down huge fucking money. Get them out of here. I can live with being a Giants fan. Can live with it. Or, if totally freed, and I will be, if your team leaves town, you're free. So every Jet fan is praying they leave town. But, Germ, they're not that far away, and it costs as much to go there as it does a Jet game. What do you think of the Baltimore Ravens as a new favorite team? They're equally cursed, but they're a lot better, and they've won a few times. They're not equally cursed. They're cursed enough, though.
Yeah, they are a lot better, and
better
personally,
uniform. Much better uniform.
I am okay with them considering the entire coaching staff of the Seahawks just came from there a couple years ago. So, yeah, they're okay. But,
I just feel like Lamar's the quarterback we deserve. I think he's great. Yeah. He's great. He's a great quarterback. He's the best quarterback in the league right now. Does he maybe choke in the playoffs? I don't know. Just having to replay the same play where you actually scored and got what you wanted fucking 4 times and getting it right only 3 out of 4 times while they keep making you do it again and again and again. Does that make you a choker? Because that's what happens. Sometimes it seems as though the league has been... So let's just say the NFL can lead to many outcomes, some considered to be unnatural, right, Chair?
Yeah. Let's just say it's about as regular an outcome as you would see in professional wrestling.
Roger Goodell was a Dark Lord of the Sith so powerful he could get subjective calls made without merit. They say he could even keep the Dallas Cowboys from losing.
Well, more like keep him from winning because he hates Jerry Jones.
Right. He could do either one. You're right. He does hate Jerry Jones. And doesn't he hate him because he acts, quote, immature for an ancient man?
Well, that's one of the public reasons.
I don't have any problem with Jerry Jones hanging out with sorority chicks and taking up residence in a sorority at a college for like most of his time. If that's what he wants to do, God damn it, that's why people are supposed to get rich. Demi Moore is dating a 40-year-old. I mean, it works both ways. First you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the pussy. As they say in Scarface. Yeah. Although I don't know, Germ, believe or disbelieve, Andrew Garfield's going out with Demi Moore.
Oh yeah, Andrew Garfield, the guy who used to be Spider-Man.
He was never Spider-Man. Well, he was Peter Parker. I don't feel like he was ever Spider-Man. He was Peter Parker.
I would hope he'd have better taste than to go with both Bruce Willis and Ashton Kutcher's floppy seconds.
When she was engaged to Emilio Estevez, he had not yet been born. Think about that. Yeah, during her first marriage, he had not been born. He was not born while she was in her first marriage. You know what I always called Demi Moore? in her day when she was popular. You know what I always called her, Germ? Semi-moron. I called her semi-moron. Because I thought she was so dumb and her acting was so bad. I was like, oh, it's another movie with semi-moron.
Hold on a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, while you're waiting for our friend Resolute Germ, is there an animated or pop culture or sports topic that you would like us to engage in? If you're out there, let us know. Also, if you're coming through later or you're here right now, if you could be so kind as to click the like and follow buttons for my pal Resolute Germ. As you see, we have mercy. We turned off the bad cartoon. And right now, it is my hopes that he is receiving a phone call telling him that he will be on my show tonight where we watch Star Trek. It should be an interesting watch. I don't know what today's episode is, and I'll probably be going in cold. Some of these I ain't seen since they've been on. We're getting to the point of the episodes that I don't remember because here's the thing. Season 2, my life is a blur because of an event that happened not on the 10th and not on the 12th of September, but back in 2001. It was a really big deal, and I don't remember much about the details of the next 6 months. Was I drinking a lot? Fuck yeah, you would be too. And I don't think there's anyone in this world who would tell me I was wrong to do it. I had good reason to get really drunk. But when I came clear after those 6 months, and by the way, there was a lot of people waking up at about that same time. It took about that long to come to terms with what I saw. I realized that I was much stronger than alcohol and very powerful over it. But no one should ever have to see what I saw to have to find out what I found out. How's that technical problem going there, Germ?
Well, you were right. I did have a phone call, and we are going to have to wrap up right now. So
catch Germ tonight on my show, Saving Star Trek at 9:30 Eastern Time.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. We'll see you next week.